Lemonada.
Welcome to Worth It from the Minnesota Star Tribune. I'm Nicole Norfleet. Each week on the show, we share the happenings around Minnesota that we think are worth your time, your attention, and your money. This is usually a spot where Aaron Brown chimes in and probably has a funny story about what he's left outside in the forest for his forest friends. But I have some sad news. Aaron is a columnist here at the Star Tribune, and he needed to dedicate more of that time to his job. So Aaron won't be my trusted co-host anymore. I'll miss him a lot. But he says he will still visit me. Maybe we can go out and get something to eat next time he's in the cities. In the meantime, I have someone else with me today.
Hey, I'm Casey Darnell. I'm an audience producer here at the Minnesota Star Tribune, which means I do a mix of social media, producing videos, and other content.
Awesome. So excited to have you here. Question. Have you ever locked your keys in your car?
Yeah, I did that. I have a very vivid memory of that. I did that in South Carolina, and I was supposed to be on the clock. Shh, don't tell my last boss. And
Yeah.
I went to a restaurant, and I locked my keys in the car, and I had to go Uber back to the apartment complex and show them my ID, prove that I was who I was saying I was. Because my spare car key was in the apartment. So I needed to get the spare key for the apartment first, and then get the spare car key in my apartment, and then Uber back to the car.
So I just recently locked my keys in my car, and this is going to show how old I am. I was going into one of my cars to get a CD that I wanted to play on. We were going camping, and I wanted to play it on the road trip up. And I not only locked the keys in the car, I also had the keys for the other car, and I also had the keys for my house. So we were all stuck outside last week.
Oh, my God.
And with the baby. And it was so hot. Never take off the roadside assistance off of your car insurance. I'm serious.
Yeah.
It saved me so many times. Somebody came in 30 minutes, and at the same time, guess what happened? My neighbor next door to me locked himself out his house in his car. And so he walked over and was like, hey, you want to make some extra money? So anyway, Alex is a listener. So we both got saved, and we still went camping. So, end of story.
Yay. Yeah.
Anyway, so glad to have you here today on the show. We'll talk about the most vital restaurants in the Twin Cities. A literary classic turns 100, and the Guthrie's rendition of Cabaret sounds like a can't-miss production. We'll hear why. Let's get into it. When it comes to dining out, we really punch above our weight here in the Twin Cities. From family-run neighborhood staples to award-winning fine dining, we have it all. But the food experts here at the Star Tribune feel like there are a handful of restaurants that are really pushing the boundaries of our local dining culture. And they have just published a list of these groundbreaking restaurants. They're calling it their 2025 Culinary North Stars. Here to tell us about the list are two people. Nicole Vidston is our taste editor who led this project, and reporter Zoe Jackson just loves to eat out. Hey, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Nicole, can you just tell us more about this project? Why make this list? You guys love lists. What makes this list special?
Well, this is kind of a mid-year. We do a check into how restaurants are faring in the Twin Cities right now, because we have our restaurants of the year at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And about this time, we kind of take a pulse check on how things were going. And we really noticed some awesome things happening in the dining scene and some really boundary pushing, as you said, and some very unique cuisine going on, some really fun spaces.
My stomach literally
yes, well,
I don't know what happened there.
And so we wanted to bring attention to these restaurants, and it kind of mushroomed from there. And we wanted to talk about the restaurants who are really moving the culinary scene. They're taking chances. Mm-hmm. They are drawing in a whole different type of diner for the more adventurous eaters, and they really deserve recognition. Whereas the Restaurant of the Year honors a handful of restaurants and usually is the year's best. This goes back a little bit, and not necessarily restaurants from this year.
Zoe, I know you've been to, I don't know, half of these restaurants?
I don't think it was half. I think it was like a third.
A third? I don't know. You know.
Goals. You have goals now.
I do have goals. I love checking off a list. Oh my God.
Well, what do you look for in a great restaurant? Like, how are you like an adventurer, or do you go to the same place like multiple times?
I guess I would say an adventurer. I like good vibes. I want it to feel like an occasion, even if it's just like me sitting on a website trying to find any time to like get into one of these places. Like this week, my dad's coming to town, so I was fighting for my life trying to get us a Diane's Place reservation.
It's so good there.
It is good.
Good luck with that, though.
We
I
are
went
going to
there
go
with
at
my dad,
8:30 in the morning on Friday.
Yeah.
Because that was like all they had, and I'm excited for that.
And I mean, talk about a great space in there. Like, it's very intimate. I mean, it can feel a little bit crowded if there's like a lot of people in there, but it's just like very like beautiful, elegant. Like, you kind of feel like you're in a different world almost for a little bit, and the lighting is like kind of a little dim, but not too dim. Like, you can still read the menu, and I really love it there.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm at Diane's Place, I do feel like she is cooking just for me.
Yeah.
It is just really a special place, which is why it's on the list.
Exactly.
But it really is a special place, and you have two totally different experiences if you go for breakfast or brunch as if you would if you go to dinner. So you have to go back.
I know. Oh my God.
But yeah, that's a very special place.
Yeah. And I like when a place like does a little extra to make it memorable. Like Sanjusan is one of them, right? On the list. Okay. Like they will, if it's your birthday or something, they'll like take a Polaroid of the table, which is like so cute. I feel like I've never seen
that before.
And they like give you that to take home, and then they'll pour you like vermouth, and like every glass is in like a different.
Did you go on your birthday?
I've been on my birthday, I've been on a friend's birthday, and then whenever you go, if you say, "Oh, the music is really good tonight," they'll give you a card with like the playlist that is playing.
That's
I didn't know
next
that.
level.
That's pretty
restaurant.
cool.
It's so cool, and like those are ththings that I'm like, nowhere else is really doing that.
Sanjusan, it's on a corner, and they have a delightful little sidewalk patio in the summer, and the inside is very cool and crisp and but yet vibrant. And really exciting stuff coming out of that kitchen too. They have a counter right by the kitchen. That's always a fun seat to get to.
Now, a lot of times when I see like lists like this, I think like, okay, these are all fine dining places and probably outside of my price
$4
range.
signs.
Yeah, $4 signs. I have to wait till my dad comes and can help me with the bill a little bit, you know. Like, but is that the case for this list? Are there some things that are a little?
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. We certainly have our fine dining places, and Demi is going to be and Travail are both going to be higher price points, no matter how you shake it. But certainly splurge worthy. But there are also some lower priced places. Saturday Dumpling Company.
Love it there.
Love it
So
there.
good.
I got to see them actually make some of the dumplings.
Isn't that fun?
So amazing.
Isn't that fun? Mothership Pizza I think it's in Minneapolis, is another one that it's right on the border.
Right on the border, yeah.
So I get, but that's another one that's not so high priced. Gainoi, you can go there and eat relatively inexpensively. Yep. But even some of the higher priced places, you can go and eat not as expensive. Spoon and Stable has a bar menu that's not as expensive as the main menu, and that's a really good seat as well. Muriel also has a bar menu. So some of these restaurants, if you have the full experience, it's going to be on the costlier side, but you can actually go and experience a taste of them for a relatively reasonable amount.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. I was going to ask everyone for like maybe their last time they've gone out to eat. I know some of us have gone to some of these restaurants like Zoe a few times. But like, what's the last... I feel like I'm picking on you. You're a foodie. You're a foodie. There's nothing wrong with being a foodie. What's the last kind of like culinary experience you've had dining out?
I had a friend who was in town recently for a conference, and I obviously had to take her to Gainoi. And I love it there. Been there several times. Also, speaking of like a place that has next level vibes, The upstairs is like beautiful. They have like a lot of tropical plants and a lot of sunlight coming in from the windows up there. So, even when it's, -10 in Minneapolis, it feels like you're on vacation there. And they have a lot of different vibes in the restaurant too, depending on where you sit. And the food is just phenomenal. And I've taken everyone who visited, going to Gainoi, maybe even going more than once, and trying different things on the menu. And when she went back to her conference, she was recommending that to everybody. So I would say definitely belongs on the vital list.
I was gonna say I feel like I'm a butcher. Owamni. Like I was out there like last summer with a bottle of wine and just like apps, and
That's
we
along
had
the river, right?
Right around the river, and it was just gorgeous. Just I think they had some string lights up, and you can just see the falls. And
that's one of the best patios in the Twin Cities, and their patios are for walk-ins only.
Right.
So,
cool.
Yeah, we just happened to decide. Like I think we were just. I had some visitors in town too, and I love having visitors in town. That really gets me out. Really, it really gets me out. And so we just had some visitors in town. It was just a beautiful evening.
Yeah, that is one of the best patios in the Twin Cities for sure.
Zoe, any other recommendations?
I went to Boucheron for my partner and I's 5-year anniversary a couple months ago. And that still is a highlight to me. And it wasn't our first time going. We did go when they first opened. We were blown away that time. And then we were let's do it again. And it was amazing. Also, our server remembered us from a full year later, which I was
crazy.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That place is so special. The hospitality really is first class. It is. I mean, the food also, obviously, but
so good.
But the hospitality works in concert with the foods to create really a one-of-a-kind experience. We are very fortunate that we have this level of restaurants in the Twin Cities. It's just really a great time to be a diner here.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Nicole. Up next, we'll revisit a literary classic that's celebrating its 100-year anniversary. And here's a hint. The author has Minnesota roots. Thanks so much, Nicole.
You bet. Thank you.
If you like Worth It, you should know it's just a tiny taste of all that the Minnesota Star Tribune has to offer. We've got an all-access pass to everything Minnesota, from outdoor adventures to the hottest food spots you've never heard of. From puzzles and games to the best concerts and happenings around the state. It's all here all the time. So subscribe to the Minnesota Star Tribune. It's a great deal. Go to startribune.com/worthit to subscribe. That's worth it to subscribe, all one word. This is an ad by BetterHelp. Did you know that workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health? In fact, 60% of the global workforce is experiencing higher than normal levels of stress. You can't just wave goodbye to work, but taking small steps for your wellness can yield big results. Hit play on your favorite podcast or song, sit in the sun, or take a walk daily. Even 5 minutes away from your screen can make all the difference. And while holidays are nice, they aren't a long-term solution. Don't forget that therapy can be ongoing and can help you build resilience to handle the unexpected challenges that the workday or any day can bring. Finding work-life balance can be hard. Getting the help you deserve? That should be easy. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com.
A lot of people this summer are going to be reading, or most likely rereading, The Great Gatsby. That's because St. Paul native F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic novel turns 100 this year. We've asked Chris Hewitt and Zoe Jackson to talk about the book and the celebrations around it. Chris Hewitt is interim books editor at the Minnesota Star Tribune, and Zoe Jackson is back because in addition to being a reporter, she's also a book influencer. She has more than 68,000 followers on her TikTok called Zoe's Reads. Hey, guys.
Hey.
So, okay, how popular is this book now, 100 years after it was published?
I don't know actual numbers, but it still sells like crazy. It's still taught in schools. I know of at least, and I wrote a story about this for the newspaper, at least 8 books this year that are essentially remixes or offshoots of it. There's a new biography of him. There's a new graphic novel version of The Great Gatsby. It is popular. One thing I read about it, I mean, maybe this is tangentially interesting. It wasn't initially popular, but paperback novels became a thing in World War II, and they sent copies of it to soldiers overseas, and soldiers were apparently the first people who embraced it in paperbacks that they could stick into their helmets or whatever.
Oh, wow. This is really interesting. I guess like this whole other world, and then you also have the romantic, love triangle kind of action as well.
It was like selling the American dream to people who needed to read it.
Kind of, although it's so toxic. Like if you were a soldier reading that book, you'd go, oh yeah, Daisy sounds hot. Oh wait, Daisy is a nightmare. Like, no thanks.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to go back.
Well, what is it about The Great Gatsby that you think like really intrigues people? Like what part of the story you think really resonates?
I've been thinking of, like, if The Great Gatsby were happening right now, Jay Gatsby would totally be a Bravo celebrity. Like, he'd be one of those people, the tangential ones who's like in the background and they're embarrassed to be on a Housewives show, but they're on it anyway, like Harry Hamlin, let's say.
Yes.
Because it's like money, sex, power, race in some parts in the book. It's kind of got everything. And it's all stuff that spoke to us apparently 100 years ago and I think still speaks to us today.
I guess also like kind of like being catfished also. Like I feel like I think that people understand like, somebody not being who they first portrayed to be. But then they're still likable. They still have like a personality to it, right?
Yeah, I think some part of it is some people want to be Gatsby at first and then realize it's kind of a facade.
Yeah, you can project so much on him because the book doesn't really tell us a ton about him. We're finding about him through St. Paul native, Nick Carraway character. And we never really figure out who Gatsby is. So you can kind of make him whatever your own version of Gatsby is. And I guess mine is hot and in the Housewives show.
Yeah, and I mean the Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie, that helped a lot. But Zoe, I know you don't usually talk about classics that much on your TikTok. What about Gatsby did you like so much?
Well, this was like way predating TikTok, but I actually remember like it being my mom's favorite book, like growing up, and she like gave me her copy to read when I was in middle school. So then I remember like reading it in the summer and like really liking it. And then when I was in high school, I was like, I already read Gatsby, but
that's so mean.
No, I know it's like so annoying, but I don't know. I just like felt very captivated by it. It felt very like glamorous, felt like an adult book, to like a 12-year-old or whatever. And I don't know, I always loved it. And then the adaptation, I feel like everyone I know was like obsessed with it, and like Lana Del Rey and like the 20, like I don't know, just the whole era felt like very captivating.
I wonder what kind of lesson your mom was trying to teach you by having you read that book. Like, this is the guys that you're not. No, this is what you're supposed to do and not do. But
I'm kind of like, I'm loving the picture of your mom being like, 9-year-old Zoe, I think you need to know about the trappings of great love.
Yeah.
I really think it's important.
And I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's also like one of those books that like no word was like unnecessary. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
Like every word in there like needed to be there. It's not long, but it's like you can't put it down. I don't know. And if you love to read, it's like
and they're beautiful words
beautiful.
Too. Yeah.
And you guys have already mentioned a few of the movies based on the book over the years. There was a version in 1949, and then there was one in 1974. 2013, Leonardo DiCaprio. I just remember him diving into the pool with that little bathing suit. What do you think makes it so well suited for movie readaptations?
May I push back on that question?
Yeah.
I don't know if it is well suited to movie adaptations. Like I don't know the one from the 40s, but the other two, I don't think either of them really gets it. And I think a lot of it has to do with how internal everything is. Like it's so much about what is happening inside the heads of these characters. And I particularly think the Leonardo DiCaprio one almost has nothing to do with the book. Like it's basically about popping champagne corks and, like you said, diving into a pool.
I hated that. So I'm glad I feel very vindicated that you're saying that because I hated that movie.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Shots fired.
I can't help it.
I know the
just
shirts,
like
the shirt scene when like all the shirts like fall. Oh my god!
And
I don't want to hear
partying.
Jay-Z in a Great Gatsby remake.
The clothes are pretty great in the 70s one too, though.
Okay.
I think is it Ralph Lauren who did the clothes for it? This is the one with Robert Redford and Mia Farrow.
And you mentioned that there are some Gatsby remixes that you've heard about already. So there's like 7 or 8. So like what's going on there? And did any stand out to you?
I think this is part of how adaptable the story is to, different eras. And the themes of it being something that we're still thinking about all this years later. But yeah, like one of them is called The Great Man. And in that one, all of the characters are Black, and it's set in LA in the 40s when a neighborhood kind of like Rondo and St. Paul is being essentially bulldozed, and they're losing their wealth partly as a result of that. And then there's one that's basically a beach read. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. There's one that's a beach read where all the characters are female. There's one that is cyberpunk, and it's set like 50 years
Did
in
not
the
expect
future.
that.
I know. Didn't see that one coming.
There has to be a vampire one. It's probably like a vampire werewolf kind of one or something.
I haven't heard of a vampire one.
Wait, you should
There's
write
a
that
cookbook that has apparently instructions on how to construct one of those champagne towers.
Okay.
And also a
Check
recipe
that
for
one out
deviled
from the
eggs.
library.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to buy that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, I think, endlessly adaptable.
And are all of these coming out because it's like in the public domain now?
I think that's a big part of it. You can steal with impunity.
Okay, cool.
And probably they knew there was going to be a lot of publicity about the 100th anniversary of it. So it's a cash-in opportunity.
That could be like a fun, I don't know, like a book club. Like you get to read a different version and kind of come back to the class and say, okay, what was it like?
Oh, everybody reads a different one?
Everyone reads a different one.
I like this.
It's like silent book club, but it's all,
But loud.
But loud.
Now, of course, F. Scott Fitzgerald was born in Minnesota. Chris, can you tell us a little bit about his Minnesota roots?
He was here, I think, until his late teens. He went to school here, St. Paul Academy.
St. Paul.
Lived in a couple of different places. And in fact, one of them has a plaque on it on Summit, close to the end of Summit. There's a townhome. So the Friends of the St. Paul Library have put together a whole years-long program celebrating this. And I think there are at least 2 more of these walking tours that you can do where they go to sites that he haunted when he lived here. He wrote his first novel here. That's also one of the places that's on the site. This Site of Paradise is that one. And so there's a exhibit coming up at MIA that is art sort of associated with the Jazz Age.
Okay.
They did a front to back reading of the whole book that took 6.5 hours at the History
Wait,
Center.
how many hours?
6.5.
Did you go?
I did, but I was only there for like the first 15 pages, maybe. It was cool, but I was like, I got
Did
a
like
lot
people
of
go around
living
and
to
read,
do.
or like?
Yeah. I think people took
around.
I think people took like half an hour.
Okay, cool.
And then they switched.
Okay.
It was interesting, but also I never listen to audiobooks because I'm terrible at being read to. So
your mind is like slipping.
Get me out of here. I love it, but get me out of here.
So you can see a roundup of Fitzgerald-related events at the Friends of the St. Paul Public Library website at thefriends.org/Fitzgerald. Well, thank you so much. Up next, our theater critic says the play Cabaret at the Guthrie Theater is like a punch in the face, but in a good way. We'll hear why. There's a show at the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis right now, and our theater critic, Rohan Preston, can't stop raving about it. The musical is Cabaret, and Rohan says it's like a lightning rod that captures the electric charges roiling today's atmosphere. We've asked Rohan to come tell us why he loves the play so much. He's here with Abby Sleva, our digital features producer. She's seen the play twice already. Welcome, you two.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Rohan, it sounds like you really loved this. Give me 3 words to describe Cabaret at the Guthrie.
Alluring, sizzling, shocking.
Ooh. Does that check out, Abby?
I would agree. I think so. I think that's what I would use to describe it for sure.
Now, a lot of people may have seen the play or maybe the movie version, but break down the story for us if we don't know what it's about.
It's set in pre-war Germany, Weimar, last year, the Weimar Republic, and it's set in a nightclub, the Kit Kat Club, and it's all these people are essentially in their own oasis, their own bubble. Meanwhile, the world around them is changing really rapidly, and it's closing down, basically.
And you say this musical, it's like incredibly powerful, right? Like, what is it about the production that draws you in?
They've thought so much about it. We were able to interview them before the opening night, and they just were so smart, so thoughtful about the art that they were producing. And it was just so incredible to hear about it from them and just talk to them about how they're processing this. It's a very heavy musical that draws you in with fun.
Right, Nazi Germany.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, wait, what's sexy about that? And I think they do a really good job of balancing that and like finding ways to have that fun and really, really just going for it, which I like. I don't think that the director shies away from any of the like really, really dark stuff, which you can't in the show. But it's really cool to hear about how much thought, like even the people playing characters you might not even like know the names of on stage, they have backstories, they have research, they are thinking it through. And I thought that was really cool to hear about.
What made you want to see Cabaret twice?
So I saw it twice because I had never seen it at all. Like I had never seen the movie. I had not seen a production of it. And I knew like the themes of it going in, but I didn't know the story. I didn't know the plot of it. So when I saw it the first time, I was like, wait, back up. Like there is stuff that I missed that I know I want to catch. Things leading up to the final ending, which is kind of there to shock you.
It's
like
devastating. Yeah.
So I felt like I really, really, really wanted to like pick up on all of it and see it again and just experience the really powerful moments again too.
I mean, you're talking about how detail oriented they were, right?
Yeah.
And I know you don't want to give it away, but like, are you talking about like visual cues and like the costumes? Are you saying like things that actors were doing in the background that you didn't notice or?
Yeah. So the staging is really cool. It's kind of like a train above the stage. It's set up with different cars and there's different vignettes in each of them, which I thought was really cool. There's different people walking in and out of them as the show unfolds below.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes some of the main characters sit up there and do a song. So I thought that was really cool. And then different songs mean more, I feel like, when you know the ending. Like different songs in the first act, you're like, wait a minute, this is kind of foreshadowing a little bit, or this is kind of playing with the themes a lot more than I thought it was. In the beginning, you're like very drawn in by these very big, flashy musical numbers where they're meant to entertain you. And I felt like seeing it again, I was like, okay, there's some hidden meanings.
Yeah.
Like there's some like foreshadowing.
And well, Rohan, when this first was performed, it was way back in 1966. That was just about 20 years after the end of World War II. So that's totally a different context than today, right? Why do you think the story still resonates with people?
Well, it's always resonated because the tensions in this story, in the play, tensions about personal freedom and sort of clamping down on that freedom has always been an issue. It's particularly germane today. I mean, it feels devastating today because, and I should say, Joseph Hodge, who directed the show, does not underline any of the issues in it. And by saying, look, this is what's happening today here, or this is what's happening.
He's not like pointing fingers.
He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't need to. The show has its own effect. And so you're like, oh, this echoes so immediately in our culture today. And in fact, I don't think there's been a time when this show's been performed since 1966, almost 60 years, that it has been as germane and as relevant and feeling that palpable immediacy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and like what themes in the play did you think are resonating without getting too into it or revealing?
Yeah, well, and I'll have Abby jump in here too. I just remember, I think of like the way personal choices. You have two people, one is Jewish and one is not, and she's German, identified as German, as if somehow those two can't be the same, and literally their love becomes impossible because of the larger political environment. And so that is kind of shocking. And, of course, we know now that there are families here, our families, that divide over politics in a way that they never have in the past.
Yeah,
and don't talk to people. And so that's just one example. And again, the nail is being struck on the head really hard, but not it's oblique. It's not like, we're not, he's not pointing to any particular thing. The other thing is, and I should say, there are some revelations in the plot when people when the characters who have seduced us by being so charming turn out to be things that are frightening to us.
I like me a good appealing villain.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think Jacqueline, who's the PR manager, I think he said Joe Hodge doesn't put a wig on Caesar or something like that to like say like he does not like point any fingers. It is strictly set in Germany. There is no like American jokes or anything like that. Like they could have very easily, I feel like, done that. And I feel like it does hit harder because I think the thing that this musical really highlights is like you think when you have privilege that politics aren't going to happen to you or they're not going to touch the world that you're living in, or maybe you read headlines and don't actually like think, oh, this is going to affect me in any way. And I think by the end of this, you're like, wait, it actually affects all of us. It just does. Like, that's just, it's the world we live in.
Daily life.
Yeah.
How did you leave the theater, though? I mean, I know you guys were talking about, like, after, you know, thinking back and wanting to go see more details. Were you, like, happy? Or were you devastated?
No, I was super bummed. I don't want to say you leave bummed out. That's not the right. You leave contemplative.
Like
you
reflective.
leave reflective. Some people leave very emotional. I think, like, it depends on how you react to live
cry?
Theater. I don't cry usually at theater productions. Like, I don't think I ever have. I cry at movies a lot, but and I was reflecting on this with my sister too after we saw it. I was like, I don't think I really cry at like live productions as much, but
Rohan?
It wrecks
I feel like
you.
you're a crier.
I do cry. I don't cry at this one. I feel wrecked.
Yeah.
Emotionally?
Yeah. Because it's so present. And, you know, Abby earlier mentioned the privilege of, you know, one of the characters has of not paying any attention to the news. Okay. And not paying any attention. And basically, the metaphors, and she mentioned also the trains, the metaphor in the show is that there's a train a-coming, and it's coming for everyone. But some people don't know, and some people think, oh, I'm immune. And so there's some really, it's devastating that way because everyone is affected in some way.
So it's making you also think about some aspect of your life where you probably were a little bit like that, where you weren't paying attention, you were thinking that it wasn't, it didn't have to do with you. So you're reflecting on your own, not even just the greater society.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cabaret at the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis opened on June 21st and runs through August 24th. It sounds like it's worth it. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Before we go, let's do the Minnesota goodbye. Casey, what's a moment from your week that felt very Minnesotan?
I guess it's two moments, but there's been a lot of people leaving out fruit everywhere, fresh produce for anyone to grab. Like in the office, somebody left a giant bowl of cherries. They were delicious.
Nice.
And in my apartment building, it's like every week, one neighbor, she leaves out most recent thing was like a bag of like cuties, like, you know, like the clementines or whatever. Like
I know
tangerines.
cuties. I know
very
cuties.
familiar.
Yeah, toddlers love those.
Yeah, like people will leave out something like that in the like entrance to the apartment building and have a little note being like, I can't eat them all, but you guys take as many as you want. And I did. I did.
Had a
I took
full
4
of
or
cuties.
5. And I just feel like that's very Minnesotan, you know, just I have this extra thing and somebody else will enjoy it. So
mine is kind of like, I don't know if you call it like outdoorsy. So recently we took our son to a toddler's birthday party, and it was at this farm near Lake Minnetonka. And there were so many people there, like so many people. And it's just like, it's like a working farm, and you get to like pet the animals. I think they had llamas and sheep. There's actually literally a flock of sheep that like ran through the place, and cows. And where else would you have like tons of people show up? Like it was, you would think we were at a movie theater or like a mall or something. That's how busy this place was. But it was, you know, agritourism. I love it. I mean, the kids loved it. They were in overalls. They came back muddy, and I didn't have the right shoes on. I had like boat shoes. Oh
that's
my
part of the
gosh.
experience.
I should have had rubber boots. It was like dirt and mud for days. But, you know, gotta love it, Minnesota. We love our farms. Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll be back next Friday. Bye. Worth It is a co-production of the Minnesota Star Tribune and Lemonada Media. It's hosted by me, Nicole Norfleet. The production team includes Melissa Townsend, Chrissy Pease, and Tiffany Bowie, with help from Zoe Jackson and Casey Darnell. This series is mixed by Johnny Bince Evans with technical help from Matt Gilmer. Our theme was composed by Dan Malad. Lemonada's Senior Vice President of Weekly Content and Production is Steve Nelson, and the Star Tribune's Director of Audio and Video Initiatives is Jenny Pinkley. Executive producers are Stephanie Whittles-Wax and Jessica Cordova-Kramer. Help others find our show by leaving us a rating and writing a review. Follow Worth It wherever you get your podcasts or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you next week. Bye.